Congratulations. When players come out and really step up the aggression against you, just like Tiafoe did today, what's the key to absorbing that pressure and at the same time staying in control of the match?
Yeah, I feel like, starting the match is very important now, I feel like, in every match. And when you start with a breakup, it gives you already a slightly good confidence. In the same time, they might be very aggressive, so I try to stay as compact as possible, with my shots and also mentally, there can be some ups and downs from both sides, so I try to stay very calm and taking the chances I can get, and I think that today was the key.
I'm sure you're very pleased to be through to another semi-final here. I wondered, after winning Indian Wells and going deep here again, how do you stay mentally fresh and hungry as well?
Yeah, no, hungry, I think it's quite natural. Mentally you have to be, at least what I'm trying to do is to stay calm and relax also off the court, because I played very much a lot of tennis in the past, 3-4 weeks with all the practice sessions and everything. So, trying to keep going. I know that this is my last tournament on hard court before going on clay, so I'm very happy to make at least semis again, and then we see how it goes.
Congrats and good luck.
Thank you.
Sinner reaches the Miami semifinals and creates a chance to become world number 1 in Monte Carlo. The Italian, who defeated local player Tiafoe, reduces the gap with Alcaraz to 1,790 points. Jannik Sinner, the same player who at the start of the Miami Open said he wasn't thinking about being number 1 but later knew all the scenarios, now knows he will have a mathematical chance to return to the top of the men's circuit at the next Monte Carlo Masters 1000, April 5 to 12. After his victory this Thursday in the quarterfinals against Francis Tiafoe, 6-2, 6-2, the gap with Carlos Alcaraz has been reduced to 1,790 points. Alcaraz will defend 1,000 points in the Principality as the reigning champion, while Sinner could add 1,000 because he missed last year's edition due to his suspension following a positive test for Clostebol at Indian Wells 2024. Depending on himself, Sinner, a 4-time semi-finalist and 2024 champion, aims on the Hard Rock Stadium center court to become the 8th player to complete the Sunshine Double, winning Indian Wells and Miami in the same year. Jannik would be the first to achieve it in the new venue after the tournament moved from Key Biscayne in 2019 due to expansion limitations. If he achieves the double, the San Condito player would depend only on himself to leave the Monte Carlo tournament as world number 1. Winning in the Principality, where he resides, would bring him a double reward. Curiously, Alcaraz will match Sinner's 66 weeks as world number 1 during the first Masters 1000 of the clay swing. The tiebreak will come with the ranking update on Monday, April 13. He now has 15 matches and 30 sets won in a row in Masters 1000 tournaments, showing a nearly unstoppable level on hard courts. His best version has returned in the United States. A scourge for the United States, Tiafoe, world number 20 and the 19th seed, looked like a lesser player against a clearly superior opponent who broke his serve in the opening game. Sinner has become a nightmare for all nationalities, especially Americans. He has won 29 consecutive matches against them since losing to Ben Shelton in Shanghai 2023. Without Spanish rackets or Brazilian João Fonseca, the Miami Open stands are half full. That doesn't bother the 4-time Grand Slam champion. Tiafoe can at least say he saved a break point in the first game of the resumed match and led 1-0. In the semifinals, the Italian awaits the winner between Alexander Zverev, 3, and Francisco Cerundolo, 18. Alcaraz challenges the world number 1s in padel, Sinner and I against Tapia and Coelho? We win. Carlos Alcaraz took advantage of his rest days to attend the Miami P1. The Spanish tennis player was in the city competing in the Miami Masters 1000, where he recently lost to Sebastian Corda. Before returning to Europe, the world number 1 visited the best padel players again and joked about a possible match, Sinner and him against the world number 1s, Tapia and Coelho. Sinner and I against Coelho and Tapia in padel? We'd win, no doubt, Alcaraz said with a smile. The player from El Palmar, the big star of the Miami P1, dared to challenge the best players in the sport. Tapia and Coelho have dominated the circuit since becoming number 1 in May 2023, dethroning LeBron and Galan. They've maintained a very high level for 3 years, with no one able to take them off the top. Xing'an tried last year, but unsuccessfully. Still, Alcaraz fears no one and dares to challenge them in a dream matchup between the best tennis players and the best padel players on a 20x10 court. During his visit, he greeted Agustin Tapia and Arturo Coelho, then Mike Yanguas and Franco Stupic-Zuk, before sitting in the front row alongside FIP president Luigi Carraro. "I've also been getting into padel lately," said the tennis world number one. "With just a few days of training and you'll beat everyone," Carraro joked. But according to Alcaraz, the toughest tennis opponent in padel would be someone with good touch, like Dimitrov. But also Zverev, maybe because of his height and smashes. And in padel? In padel, everyone. What's clear is that Alcaraz would adapt well with a padel racket. He loves the sport and has been seen practicing it before. Just a year ago, he attended this same event in Miami, and in 2026 he repeated the experience before heading back to Europe. Jaime Alcaraz on his brother Carlos: "I see him as a brother, not as a tennis role model." The younger Alcaraz spoke after becoming champion in Murcia. Jaime Alcaraz continues to make progress in his development as a tennis player, but he's clear he wants to do it his own way. The young player from Murcia, who last Sunday became champion of the U15 tournament held at the Real Murcia Club de Tenis 1919, delivered a clear message after his victory. Beyond the title, attention focused on his statements to La Verdad, where he spoke openly about his development and especially about comparisons with his brother Carlos Alcaraz. The younger Alcaraz downplayed the noise and distanced himself in sporting terms. "I don't listen to people who compare me to my brother. I see Carlitos as a brother, not as a tennis reference," he explained. He also assessed his performance in the tournament, where he defeated Rodrigo Burgos 6-2, 6-1 in the final despite carrying a physical issue. "No match is easy, but I felt good. At the beginning my ankle hurt because I'm slightly injured, but I played very well," he said. Jaime also made clear his philosophy at this stage, focused on improving without rushing or pressure. "Little by little I'm growing as a player and as a person. There's no rush, I'm improving step by step," he stated. A mature message from a player still in development, who is starting to stand out in junior categories but is determined to build his own path away from comparisons. Jannik Sinner responds to Alcaraz and surpasses Djokovic. The Italian grows after the Spaniard's defeat and breaks a Masters 1000 record held by Djokovic for a decade. Jannik Sinner now has a huge opportunity to regain the world number one spot and does not intend to waste it. The day after Carlos Alcaraz's elimination in Miami, the Italian proved the machine described by João Fonseca, allowing Corentin Moutet just 5 games, 6-1, 6-4, in their round of 16 match. After winning Indian Wells, he is on track to do the same in Miami 2026, with only Alexander Zverev appearing as a potential threat. However, Sinner has beaten the German in their last 6 meetings and hasn't lost to him in 3 years. His dominance is such that he has taken one of Novak Djokovic's records. Not only does Djokovic lead in Masters 1000 titles, but he also held the record for consecutive wins and sets. The latter now belongs to Sinner. Unbeaten in Masters 1000 since Shanghai, Sinner has now won 3 consecutive Masters 1000 titles, Paris, Indian Wells, and currently Miami matches, and has not dropped a set in Miami. Djokovic had set the record at 24 consecutive sets from Indian Wells to Monte Carlo 2016. Sinner has now reached 26. He achieved this in a match that required little effort, finishing it in just 1 hour and 11 minutes. Moutet was overwhelmed in the first set and only offered slight resistance in the second. His next opponent will be American Alex Michelsen, who came from behind to beat Alejandro Tabilo in a long match, 3-6, 6-3, 6-4. Despite the quick turnaround, his youth should help him recover. Even so, he appears to have little chance against Sinner, who has beaten him in all previous encounters without dropping a set, including matches in the United States, Cincinnati and US Open 2024. Farewell to the defending Miami Open champion. Among the day's results was the defeat of defending champion Jakub Mensik, who lost to Frances Tiafoe in a dramatic match decided 13-11 in the final tiebreak, 7-6-4, 4-6, 7-6-11. After his unexpected early loss to Sebastian Corda, Carlos Alcaraz has chosen to return home to Murcia to disconnect before the crucial Monte Carlo Masters 1000, where Sinner could take the ATP number 1 ranking from him. Alcaraz has decided to hit pause. The current world number 1 will head back to his hometown to rest for a few days after his painful loss. This break comes at a critical point in the calendar, just before the demanding European clay swing. The first major challenge ahead will be the Monte Carlo Masters 1000, a tournament shaping up as a pressure cooker for his ranking ambitions.